This week for reading, we're going to be reviewing nonfiction text structures. So remember, nonfiction text structure is how the information in a nonfiction text is organized, and we have four main types of structures. The first one is chronological and sequential. Okay, this is arranged by time. We're talking about time that's chronological, and then sequential is when we're going in order. So chronological might be the history of something, events that happened in the past. Sequential would be, for example, the steps to baking a cookie. You have to do it first, second, third, things like that. Some of our signal words are going to be beginning, first, second, then finally, lastly. And then if I see that my author has written something that includes time indicating words or order words, then I know that it's probably chronological or sequential. My second one is compare and contrast. We know this is when we're talking about the similarities and the differences between two different things. So some keywords would be both, different, while, same, alike, similar, and contrast on the other hand. Those are going to indicate that I'm comparing two things. Next we have problem and solution. So in a problem and solution we have an issue, and then the key for this one is that it has to have a solution or a fix for that problem. So I'm going to introduce what my problem is, and then I'm going to give you advice for how to solve it. So keywords: problem, issue, since, consequently, because of, cause. And the last one is cause and effect. This one is something happens because of something else. So why is something occurring? So it's similar to problem and solution, but my solution is going to tell me how to fix it. So keywords for cause and effect: because, since, if, due, to, as a result of, if, then. So when I'm trying to distinguish between these two, I need to decide, is the author giving me a way to fix the problem? So what we're going to do this week is read through a couple of short passages on onion facts, and then we're going to try to decide how the author has organized the information. So deciding on what the organizational pattern is. So as we read through, we're going to look for some keywords and see if we can decide which one of our organizational patterns the author has used. Cutting an onion can be an extremely unpleasant experience. In fact, it is so awful that it often results in the eyes that sting like bees and tears streaming down the cook's face. Have you ever wondered what causes this undesirable outcome and how you can avoid it? I already have a word that should be popping up in my head. I've got causes. Slicing the onion releases sulfuric acid into the air. This sulfuric acid reacts with the moisture in a person's eye, and the result is a tearful reaction. Here's another keyword: results. There is a simple solution to this common problem. Right there, I've got two keywords. I've got solution and problem. Cut the onion under a stream of running water. This will prevent the sulfuric acid from reacting with your eye's moisture. If you follow this tip, you will likely have a positive onion cutting experience without the tears. So looking at some keywords that I have: cause, results, solution, problem. I might think up here this is a cause and effect because it is telling me why your eyes are burning after you cut an onion, right? But the key is this last paragraph down here is giving us a what? A solution, how to fix this problem. So since I have a solution to a problem, this paragraph or this passage is going to be problem and solution. All right, our next one, we're going to go ahead and read through and do the same thing. Onions have been around for a long time. In fact, scientists agree that onions were likely a staple in the prehistoric diet. Onions are known to have existed in Egypt in 3500 BC. To the ancient Egyptians, onions symbolized eternity, and many pharaohs were buried alongside onions. The ancient Greeks also believed in the power of onions. In fact, in the 1st century AD, a Greek physician convinced several Greek athletes that onions had medicinal property that would make them stronger. As a result, the majority of the athletes who participated in the first Olympic Games ate several pounds of onion, drank onion juice, and rubbed onions all over their bodies. So when I'm talking about these two paragraphs, I'm noticing something. We've talked about 3500 BC, which we know we can also say is BCE, before Common Era, so 3500 years before our year 2020. And then we go on to the 1st century AD, or CE, which is our current era. So the first century, first 100 years after year 0. So that would be 100 as opposed to our year 2020. So 1,920 years ago. Okay. In the Middle Ages, onions were prescribed to alleviate headaches and to prevent hair loss. They were also accepted forms of payment for goods and services. They were even commonly given as wedding gifts. So the Middle Ages, we're talking about centuries after the 1st century. This is going to be closer to 500 AD, or as we say, CE, our current era. Today, onions are primarily used to add flavor to our foods. Furthermore, all evidence indicates that they will continue to exist far into the future. So when I'm looking at this, I'm noticing that each of my paragraphs is starting back in ancient Egypt and is moving forward in order in time. So I know that it has to be one of these, chronological or sequential, because these have to do going in a specific order. So my key for this is because this has to do with events in time. So since I have events in time and I have these key words taking me through with time, I know this is going to be chronological.